Good morning. Thank you to our media partners for being here with us this morning, and thank you to everyone watching. This morning, we are going to have Chief Jennings as well as Lieutenant Brian Crum of the Homicide Unit here to present for you this morning. Chief Jennings has another appointment this morning, but due to the gravity of the topic, and that topic being not only our most recent homicides, but also the increase in homicides that we have in general for this year. Due to the gravity of that, Chief Jennings wanted to step down and have a few words with you, and then we need to get him out of here. Chief Jennings.
Thanks, Lieutenant Fishback. Thanks for everybody for coming in and meeting with us today. So I tell you, I apologize, I do have to leave a little bit as soon as this is over, but I wanted just to come out in front and just say that, you know, I've been doing this for almost 29 years, and in the law enforcement profession, this is without hesitation one of the most challenging that I've ever seen in my career. So we are in the midst of everything we're dealing with as far as social justice issues, rioting and protesting and things that we've been challenged with our officers, as well as COVID-19 challenges and the violent crime issues that we're dealing with. Our men and women in blue and members of this agency have stepped up, and they've continued to do their jobs and work through all of it. So I'm very proud of our department and some of the accomplishments that we've been able to make despite some of the challenges that we have. I'm equally as proud as our work continues as we go through and collaborate with our community. I want to be able to come before you and thank every member of the communities that have had input that has given us the direction and some of the pathways that we need as an agency to continue to improve and make our agency better. So the community has stepped up, very happy about that. We can't improve as an agency without that. However, with all of the negative publicity that we see still that deals with law enforcement, we know that there's a great deal of support behind the scenes as well. And at times it's overwhelming that some of the support that we see from our community members and some of the things that they want to see, and that's going to always help us get better. Even with all this, though, I talk about the positive things, but even with all this, the violent crime that we are seeing, not just in the city of Charlotte, but across the nation, is having a huge impact on our city, and that's disturbing to me. Nothing is more evident than what we just seen over the past couple of days. Tragic loss of 3 of our citizens within Charlotte, taken too soon at the hands of another, and that's something that's always disturbing, and that will continue to be very diligent within our agency to try and solve these crimes as well. So we do remain committed to combat violent crime in our city, in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. So we've had some great work with some of our groups and organizations. Our homicide team has a clearance rate of 73% at this point, which is well above the national average. And our department's made more than 2,200 arrests for violent crimes this year within CMPD. So very proud of that work, and that'll continue. I also want to make sure that I continue to plead to the community to work with us, not just when things are bad, but let's work with us to not just to continue to make our department better, but also to make sure that we make your community safer, because as we've seen so many times that this is not something that the police can have and put on our shoulders by ourselves. We need our community to work with us and to make sure that not only we're keeping them safer, but we're also making our department better. So I encourage that to continue. Now, I'm also going to have Lieutenant Brian Crum come up and speak specifically and more specifically on some of the homicides that we've seen recently and answer any of your questions. If you have any quick questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them now before I do step out.
Chief, are you concerned about just the workload on Brian and his team over there in homicide? I mean, it's just one after another, 3 of them within 12 hours.
Yeah, so absolutely I'm concerned of the workload because this is a group of detectives that want to stay in the game. I can tell them to take time off or to go home, and they don't want to do that. They are going to do everything they can, and hopefully not to their detriment, that to get these cases solved. So as a police chief, I have to make sure that they're taking care of themselves, and that they're able to take care of our community by solving some of these crimes. So those are the checks and balances that we have to look at, and Lieutenant Crum has to be able to know when it's time to say, take a break and let's let somebody else take over for a little while. So it's very concerning.
More specifically, as the chief, you start looking at redeploying resources. You add people there. You take, I don't know how many people you have in homicide now, but you have.
So yeah.
Different approach.
And we will, yeah, and that's one of the things that we always look at as far as where our resources are deployed. We do have resources that do assist with homicide, so it's a little bit different than back when I was in homicide as a detective in my younger years, that now as far as the support that they have with teams like our violent criminal apprehension team that can go out and find suspects and find people that they need to question and things, that takes some of the load off of them and allows them to deep dive into the investigation in and of itself and identify those people that we do need to contact and apprehend, and also speak with witnesses and conduct interviews and follow up. So that's really important, and that's some of the things that I'm committed to continue to provide them the resources they need for that.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Lieutenant Crum? Yeah.
Good morning. This year's been a busy year, as the chief said, for the homicide unit. The men and women of the unit have been working day in and day out on all of our cases, not just the ones that are happening this year, but I think you guys have seen we're clearing cases from prior years as well. Before I discuss the 3 investigations that occurred earlier this week, I do want to take a second to highlight the fact that we often get stuck in the numbers of the cases that we're working, what the statistics are. Every single one of those statistics represents a person who's lost to our community, somebody who's lost their families, and it leaves behind countless secondary victims. Those are loved ones, friends and family who will no longer be able to enjoy spending time with that person or the benefits of that person being a part of their family. So I think it's very important that we always remember that every time we see a homicide investigation out on the news, that's a person that we've lost. So as a quick recap on the cases that we have from the last couple of days, on October 12th, around 5:48 in the afternoon, officers responded to a shooting on West W.T. Harris Boulevard at Old Statesville. It's Old Statesville Road. When they arrived, they found 21-year-old Aaron Schufer Jr. Suffering from a gunshot wound. He passed away as a result of his injuries. So officers responded out to that, along with the homicide unit. And just a short time later, at 6:15 p.m., officers received a call for a shooting that occurred in the 1200 block of Campus Street in the Metro Division. When they arrived, they also located another individual who'd been shot. That was 58-year-old Ernest Leitner, and he died of his injuries. I can share with you right now that as a result of that ongoing investigation, just recently this morning, officers from the Violent Criminal Apprehension Team were able to locate and arrest a suspect. That's Gina Michelle Kilgo. She's born June 11th of 1991. As a result of the ongoing investigation, homicide detectives obtained a warrant for her arrest for first-degree murder, and she's currently in custody. Then, as we move forward through that evening, October 13th at about 3:56 a.m., officers responded to a disturbance call with shots fired in the 2600 block of Clydesdale Terrace. When they arrived, they found 41-year-old Emmanuel Taylor. He'd also been shot. He was located in a vehicle. That case is also still ongoing. So I want to make sure that we highlight the fact the reason we clear our cases is because the community steps up and helps us. We leverage all types of resources. We try to stay on the cutting edge of forensics, technology, all sorts of tools that are available to investigators. But at the end of the day, the way we clear cases is because we have help from the community. That's directly the reason we were able to clear the shooting that occurred on Campus Street so quickly. And that's why we're hopeful that we're going to clear the other two cases. We have active leads that we're working in both of those investigations. We do ask, though, as always, that our community step up and help. They can call Crime Stoppers at 704-336-1600 or the tip line at 704-432-TIPS and speak directly to a homicide detective. We don't need your name, we just need your information. Is there anything I can answer for you guys?
Any ideas of promoted in these cases? We've heard they're not related in any way, those three, but what's going on? What's causing all this?
You know, without getting into the details, just because it's so early on, what I can tell you is it's the same recurrent theme we're seeing is the pre-existing relationships between people. And when I say relationships, they may be friends, acquaintances. They have minor disagreements that, very minor disagreements sometimes that spiral into violence. And it's, for some reason, instead of just kind of stepping back and letting cooler heads prevail, people are reaching for a gun and they're ending tragically.
Well, and I'll ask you what I've asked others before, is it time to rethink how we're approaching the homicide problem? It's not just Charlotte, to be fair, but, violent crime here for a couple of years now in a row is going on. You can just step back and start over?
I think, I don't know about start over, but I think that we should always be open to any ideas anybody has. I mean, when we have a problem that's, as serious as this and that really impacts people as deeply, I think we should be open to any kind of solution that people may have. I know there's a lot of different ideas out right now. The department's engaged with a lot of our youth trying to get involved early on. And I think it's important that, we try every approach we can to try to do something about this, because it really is going to take the community to solve this problem. It's not something we can do on our own.
I know you mentioned, you don't want to get too much into the numbers, but I mean, face the reality here, are there numbers that you can provide us compared to this time last year?
Sure. As of right now, we have 94 murders this year, and that counts just the murders, so that's not all the investigations we go out on. I just want to make sure we parse that apart. We've had several manslaughter cases as well. That's versus 78 murders this time last year. That's as of today.
Can you go into detail as to how many are unsolved?
As of right now, we have solved 61 cases, and those are the cases that we can report on right now. I can tell you that a lot of those cases we have several cases that are ready to be cleared as we move forward.
There's one of those cases, the Beatty Fords, where we had like multiple people shot, 100 people, I think it was like 200, 300 people that were out there.
Sure. I'm not going to discuss particularly which cases we're close on, just because it's important that the detectives have the ability to continue to work and that the community can still come forward and talk to us. I can tell you the Beatty Ford investigation is still a very active investigation, and as Chief mentioned before, as a department, we're leveraging a lot of resources, and that's, I think, the way, and also to Mark's question, how do we kind of redeploy resources, or how do we envision that? The department throws all the resources we have at a particular case. So as with the Beatty's Ford case, we're leveraging every resource we have to be able to solve that case, and that case is still very active and still ongoing. So we hope to be able to share information with you guys at some point in the future.
Last time I was in the room, there were no tips for that case. Is that still the case?
We've received a lot of tips from the community. Obviously, we haven't received that tip that solves the case, but we've received a lot of excellent tips that have some very good leads for us to follow up on. Thank you, guys.
All right. One thing that stuck out to me in listening to all that is Lieutenant Crum is one of the most experienced investigators that we have in this department. And he's also a very forward-thinking individual. He keeps up with the tools of the trade. But we heard him say what's leading to the clearance of a lot of these cases comes back to the community. And so to our many listeners and viewers out there, that's you, and we count on you. So again, a way to stay anonymous, make that call to Crime Stoppers, 704-334-1600. And shifting gears, we've had a lot of questions from our media partners in reference to the upcoming elections, and I just want to say that the CMPD does have an appropriate security plan in place. We continue to monitor information from numerous sources coming in, all in the effort to make sure that our citizens have